Yeah, sorry. What's going on, boys? How you doing? Welcome to the Week 11 preview here. Boys came in at the buzzer last minute. Coach Jay, what's going on, man?
Oh, nothing. Just having a good old day. A little rain here in Florida, but everything's good.
JJ, how about you? I know your pockets are hurting after the Vikings bet last week, but talk to me, man. How you feeling?
Feeling okay. I'm feeling okay. I owe Josh Dobbs an apology. I do. I did not believe in him, and he came through. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was with you there. Sad day in Cleveland, as you guys have probably seen. Deshaun Watson done for the year. We moved to DTR. Coach Jay, initial thoughts when you saw the news? I honestly didn't think it was real, man. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was surprised because he finished the game, won the game, had a heck of a game against Baltimore to get that win, and to find out that it was his shoulder was unique. But it's something that has to be done because if he doesn't have the surgery, I hear that it could be a serious deal. So it's unfortunate for Cleveland and Deshaun.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, right? They're still obviously right there in the playoff race as well as the AFC North race. But again, DTR was underwhelming in his first game. He had 3 hours notice, so we'll see. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Coach Jay, also congratulations. Here are the overall records. Coach Jay back on track last week, got the dub, Week 10 winner. JJ is now below 500, and I have been below 500 since Week 1, since we kicked this thing off, unfortunately. But congratulations, Coach Jay, Week 10. How does it feel to be back in the winner category, Coach?
Just a matter of time, Grant. Just a matter of time. There's only one guy on this panel that knows what they're talking about. And that's you, Grant.
The past 2 weeks it was. Last week, not so much. JJ, below 500. How have your college basketball bets been going? I see out of every handicapper in sports that are out there, you're one of the only ones that I see that put out frequent college basketball picks. How is that going for you, man?
Doing so good so far. I mean, it's still a long season. I'm starting out hot. Not really hot, but 23-19 so far this season. So we're moving forward. We got a lot of plays tonight. Last night was kind of crappy, but, we move forward, right? At the end of the day.
FAU's blowing teams out of the water, so they're doing good. Your Magic still have more wins than the Cavs do. Cavs don't look good. They don't look good. They don't look good. Let's get into the NFL slate. That's why we're here. Great games this week. Kicking it off with Thursday Night Football. Bengals at Ravens. This game is a must-win for the Cincinnati Bengals, in my opinion. I know we were throwing around the must-win slang last week. JJ, I'm coming to you first because you were the one who initially said it. You're taking the Baltimore Ravens here, but don't you think as well that it is a must-win for the Bengals, who are winless in the division so far, and that conference record's looking pretty ugly, JJ?
I just think Baltimore at home is a different animal. And again, it's like they need to win too, right? They don't want to let Cincinnati back in the division race. So I think that Baltimore is going to do well here against Cincinnati. And Cincinnati's kind of, hit or miss. I mean, if they can kind of roll how they have been against like the 49ers and stuff, Baltimore could be in some trouble. But again, I think Lamar Jackson finds a way to get back on track. The run game is great. Their defense is good. I'm just going to go with the home team here. I'm going to go with Baltimore.
Coach Jay, you're on the Ravens as well. How are you feeling after the surprising and disappointing loss for the Baltimore faithful last week against Cleveland? It's a great bounce back spot for them at home. And again, the Bengals letdown loss against the Texans, should have had that game, but feeling pretty confident about the Ravens this week?
I am. Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard are both out from what I hear. T. Higgins is out. Those are three key players for that football team. And they're going to have trouble stopping the run. They had trouble last week against Houston, stop and run. They're definitely going to have trouble this week against Baltimore. I just think Baltimore is too physical right now. They'll own the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball and get the victory.
What are your thoughts on the must-win for the Bengals this week? Do you think it's a must-win?
I don't think it's quite a must-win yet. If they lose this game, they'll go to 5-5, right? And then they still have 7 games left. So I think if they get 5-2 on their last 7, they get to 10-7. I think that'd get it in the wild card. It's a must-win if they want to win a division, but to get into playoffs, I don't think it's a must-win.
Yeah, I know they got the Steelers twice. They got Jacksonville. They got Kansas City. They got the Vikings, the Colts, and the Browns without Deshaun Watson. So, I mean, they can go 5-2 there.
Yeah, I think, did you mention the Chiefs? They also do have the Chiefs. So tough schedule moving forward. The Ravens also have a very tough schedule the rest of the way. The Ravens schedule consists of the Chargers, the 49ers, the Dolphins, the Steelers again. So AFC North opponents, pretty tough schedules the rest of the way. Let's move on to Browns Steelers. Call me a homer. Call me whatever you want. I'm going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off.
Homer.
No, no renegading Cleveland this week, Coach Jay. It's going to be in Cleveland. They're going to be rallying around DTR. Is there a 0.0% chance that DTR wins this game, Coach?
Why is DTR playing?
I mean, PJ Walker's just terrible. I don't know. What do you mean? Why?
No, they'll play PJ Walker, right?
No, they named DTR as a starter, baby.
Oh,
riding it back with him.
That gives me all the more reason to take Pittsburgh then. I think, yeah, PJ gives them a better chance to win than DTR, I believe. At least he's played some games. I did like DTR coming out of college, but I just think right now at this time of the year, I think you play the veteran guy. But whatever. I just think Pittsburgh will win ugly again, like they always do. They'll give up more yards probably and win 14-7 or 14-10. Their defense is playing extremely well, and they don't make many mistakes on defense. They hold the opposing offense to minimal gains and make them punt and create turnovers, and that's what they'll do to a young quarterback.
Again, JJ called me a homer. They're going to be playing inspired, right? They took Nick Chubb away from him due to the injury earlier in the season. Deshaun Watson's now out. JJ, I just feel like everything riding on this game, obviously, they're obviously not going to fold, right, and just cave in for the season. In Cleveland, I think they get it done. Obviously, you don't. The over-under has since dropped to 32.5, which is extremely low. I don't think I've seen one that low this season. You still think that goes under?
Yeah, I mean, if Cleveland's going to win the game, I mean, we saw DTR earlier this year, and Kevin Stefanski basically shut the book on him right away, bringing in PJ Walker. That's why it's so weird. Like, I don't understand how you shut the door on him and bring in PJ Walker, then now automatically make him the starter. I don't know what the decision was to do that, but again, if the Cleveland Browns are going to win this game, they're going to win with only 14 points on the scoreboard. I don't see DTR scoring many points, and lucky for them, they still have the best defense in the league, and they can shut them. They can shut down the Steelers and Kenny Pickett. So, but I just think that the Steelers are going to be too much. I think they're going to find a way to score and ultimately get the win.
PJ Walker is statistically the worst quarterback in the NFL among starters when he played. Most turnover worthy rate, throws. I mean, he's just not good, right? I get it. He has more
DTR stats when he played that first game.
He had 3 hours, Coach. He had 3 hours.
Oh,
3 hours.
Okay. I just wondered. I just wondered. You said the word.
Full week of practice. He has more upside, right? He knows he's the guy now.
I agree with that.
So we'll see how it goes. Again, division games are always close. Let's move on to the next game on the slate. Chargers-Packers. The Packers let me down. They were in it, but they let me down. I'm on the over here. The Chargers are going to put up their points, and at home, I think Jordan Love is going to put up points. I mean, again, it's 44.5, so it is pretty high. But again, I don't see anything that really excites me about that Chargers defense. It just lit up 41 to Jared Goff from the Lions, who have a much better offense than the Packers. They do. But at the end of the day, I'm on the over here. JJ, I'm coming right back to you. It's definitely a must-win for the Chargers, right? 4-5, you're out of the playoff picture. They got to get one here, in no better place to do so than on the road against a struggling Packers team 3-6 with Jordan Love at the helm, right, JJ?
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. I think this is a game that the Chargers need to pick up to stay in that race, and they can do so. I mean, Jordan Love actually looked okay last week. He threw a couple touchdowns and against a good Steelers defense. But again, the backs are against the wall for the Chargers. Going up against a team that they should win. And that's why I'm just taking the Chargers, just because they have to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know we keep throwing around the must win there, but they definitely have to. Coach Jay, is this finally, can we get you to admit a team that is in a must win spot for the Chargers?
Yeah, the Packers are in a must win spot. And I'd like to switch my pick to the Packers if I could. Can I do that?
Yes, I'll write down the audible. We got you.
All
Packers.
Right, because I did the picks this morning, and then I went back and watched some film on the Chargers and the Lions game, and the Charger defense is absolutely horrific. So I'm going to take the Packers. They're going to be able to run the ball extremely well with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, and they'll get some play passes going. And I think the Packers win at home. And it's a must-win for the Packers. They're not out of the playoff race in the NFC at all, close to being out of it. But you're right, it is a must-win for the Chargers, but their defense isn't good enough.
Are you switching to the over then as well, or are you going to stick with the under?
I'm going to stick with the over. I'm going to go over as well, yeah.
Okay, so 2 audibles, everything on there. JJ?
Yeah.
Why is their defense so bad? Like, what makes
I don't know, but they aren't very good.
I mean, they have some pieces.
Their defensive line, I don't know. Khalil Mack, they're not getting. He's not very much of a run player, I guess, and I don't know. They're getting run through like, I don't know what's the term? Shit through a tin horn. Yeah, yeah.
Justin Herbert. I mean, he's got 2,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, 5 picks.
But the Lions do have one of the best offensive lines in football, so that had a lot to do with it. They have 2 great backs. But I just think the Packers will get off and get some of those outside zones going and get Jordan Love on the perimeter, get him some throws easy, and I think they'll win at home this week.
Next game on the slate, here we go, Jim. Bears at Lions. I want to ask you guys, I mean, Justin Fields is coming back, but, I mean, what the hell? Do we think Justin Fields is really going to put up points in this game? I mean, why are we taking the over here? Coach, I'm coming back to you. Justin Fields' first game back in like a month. Their offense isn't very good. I'm just confused why we're taking the over here, if I'm being completely honest.
I took the over because I did see the Chargers score 5 straight times against the Lions last week, right? So it's not like the Lions defense is really taking a step back the last 4 or 5 weeks. And the Lions offense is actually really, really good. Their offensive line is good. Jared Goff's playing a high rate. These 2 backs that they have are very, very good. 3 with, if you count Craig Reynolds. So that's why I took the over. I think there'll be a lot of points. I think Justin Fields comes in and get DJ Moore going and Cole Kmet, and I think there'll be some points. And I think the Lions at the end of the day will pull away at the end.
Justin Fields, he's not very good, man. I don't think he's very good. Thoughts on Justin Fields coming back? Are you excited to see him come back? And obviously you're on the over. Again, I just don't see a lot of points in this game. The Lions are going to put him up, but I don't think the Bears do.
You like anybody other than Brown players?
I absolutely do. I absolutely do.
All right, just checking.
No, it's just funny to me that Justin Fields comes back and the line is this high. It's kind of suspiciously high. I think for a divisional game too, even though they're on the road, it should be a little bit lower. I think it should be like less than a touchdown. I mean, it's not saying much, but I mean, 9 whole points, more than a possession. I mean, that's a lot, especially coming back from injury and having Justin Fields. And the Bears defense, they have been playing good lately. They have been playing solid football and they have been playing good defensive football. So it's weird that it's this high at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, my favorite play of this game, call me crazy. I mean, you won't call me crazy because he scores every time he touches the ball when he's playing. But David Montgomery, homecoming in Chicago, I know he's going to find the end zone. I love him to score a touchdown this week. That's a good little parlay piece for all those people back at home.
We had a comment up there. Let's go back to the comments real quick. I believe it was from our boy, Coin Snatcher. Ask Coach who he thinks the Giants should take if they get the number 1 pick. Coach Jay, if the Giants get the number 1 pick, who should they take?
Caleb Williams. How hard is that?
What do you do with Daniel Jones? $140 million.
You take the best quarterback. He's a generational type talent. He didn't play very good against Notre Dame, but the arm talent that he has, you have to take him. And his ability to move, he's the guy you got to take.
Jaden Daniels is better.
Who?
Jaden Daniels, LSU quarterback.
You can't throw
they're both go back and watch the tape. That dude is rolling.
Drake May's a good player too, but I just think if you have to take one of those 3 quarterbacks, in my opinion. Daniel Jones has been hurt too much for my liking. He's athletic, but I would take Caleb Williams or whatever their film study tells them. If this kid from LSU is better, or the kid from Duke or North Carolina is better, whoever, one of those 3.
So then you just have to live with the fact that you have a $140 million backup at that point, or do you try to just trade him or cut ways with him?
You try to trade him. Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you got to eat it.
I'm with you though.
You can't just sit on a quarterback who's hurt all the time and hadn't been very productive. If you have a chance to get an elite type player, right?
True. A guy I do. There you go. A non-Brown I do like.
Did it. They had Alex Smith, right? He's a good player, great guy, and they went out and traded up and got Patrick Mahomes. And then the next year they got rid of Alex Smith and worked out.
For sure. No, I'm with you. Caleb Williams is generational, and I don't think you could pass up on him either. Next game on the slate, and Coach Jay, a team that I do like outside the Browns, the Miami Dolphins. 6-3, 4-0 at home. I almost the Raiders are. I have the under here, but I'm not going to call an audible, but I don't think they're going to put up very many points. You're on the under though, Coach Jay. Though, so are you in the realm of thinking that the Dolphins are absolutely going to crush them and they're not going to score very many points? Again, the Dolphins are 4-0 at home. Raiders have not put up any points with O'Connell. How are you feeling about O'Connell, and how are you feeling about the Raiders and Dolphins, Coach?
I'm hoping it'll be like 41-0. That's what I think. I think the Raiders are playing a lot better. They're getting Josh Jacobs going. The last 2 weeks, he's gone over 100 yards. They've had 100 yards rushing. The previous 8, they didn't have that. So they're doing better running the football. And that's the only chance they have against Miami is if they can control the clock. Josh Jacobs can get like 35 to 40 carries like an old school back, and they can keep Tyreek Hill and Tua on the sideline. But it's going to be hard to stop them. Now, the Raiders defense is playing a little better, but they played the Jets and the Giants the last 2 weeks. Those are two of the worst offenses of NFL modern era. So they play Miami this week. It's going to be a much more difficult task, and I think Miami wins this game easy.
JJ, the Raiders look inspired under Antonio Pierce. Is there no way in hell that they cover in this game? Devontae Adams looks happy as hell. The whole locker room looks happy as hell. Max Crosby, no way that the Raiders cover here?
And we always say any given Sunday, but there's no any given Sunday out there where the Raiders win this ball game. Maybe they cover, who knows? But the Dolphins is going to be a track meet. I mean, you got Jalen Ramsey shutting down Devontae Adams, or trying to. You got Aiden O'Connell throwing it to him against Jalen Ramsey. You got a great run defense, and the defense only looked better when they played Kansas City in London. I mean, they held Kansas City under 23 points or whatever it was. And then you got, I mean, it's just going to be a shellacking. There's no chance the Raiders win this game. Raiders come back down to earth.
Yeah, I was surprised. What'd you guys think of that Sunday night game against the Jets? I was, Judge, I was shocked that the Jets didn't pull that one off.
Yeah, I kind of was too. Zach Wilson stepping on the sideline towards like on the 2 or 3 yard line right before the second half or whatever it was, and that kind of killed him. But I mean, Zach Wilson actually looked okay. I mean, he was making some passes. I think Garrett Wilson dropped a few. I mean, he didn't look terrible. That offense is just so bad and it's just so hard to watch. They couldn't get the run game going. The offensive line is bad. It's just a bad offense. But their defense is damn good. Damn good.
I feel bad for Zach Wilson, Coach. Do you feel bad for Zach Wilson at all? I don't know why I do. He had to step in a spot where he thought he was going to get to learn from one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I don't think he's been as bad as what people make him out to be. So thoughts on Zach Wilson? I kind of feel bad for the guy.
Well, he was drafted pretty high, Grant. So he had every opportunity to win the job. And the reason they went out and got Aaron Rodgers because he failed miserably at his time that he started. Now, I hate giving up on young quarterbacks this early, but he has struggled mightily in his time. He hasn't showed a significant progress like you'd like to see young quarterbacks show. Kind of like, C.J. Stroud maybe. The progress that he keeps showing. So you got to get better. You got to show signs that you are a starting quarterback, a worthy starting quarterback in the NFL, and Zach just has not done that yet.
No better way to put it. Giants and Commanders here. One of you guys got to fill me in on Sam Howell. Is rumor true that I saw today he's leading the league in passing yards now? Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't been watching.
Haven't had the bye yet.
Is he just lighting it up? I mean, I keep seeing JJ tweeting he's the franchise quarterback of that team. Somebody fill me in. How in the world is he leading the league in passing? And again, 2,700 yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 picks. He's on fire. Somebody fill me in.
Well, he's playing better. The last 3 weeks, he's thrown for over 300 yards. Now, they haven't had their bye week yet, so when they have their bye week, somebody will probably pass him. But they're protecting him a lot better. He's getting the ball out of his hands. He's understanding the route concepts a lot better, where he knows where the checkdowns are at. Eric Bieniemy's doing a nice job with him, giving him plays that he's comfortable with. And they've also had to score because their defense hadn't been playing very well. So Sam is making plays within the pocket, outside the pocket, on time, accurate. He's doing a great job. I think he has a great future here in Washington.
JJ, Tommy DeVito is starting again for the Giants. Is right, man. I feel bad. Tyrod Taylor is a serviceable backup. I think the Giants would be a lot better with Tyrod Taylor, but got to play the cards that are dealt. Tommy DeVito, over under 9.5 points in this game for the Giants. You going over or under?
I'd go under. It was funny because when we came on last week, we had my pops make a line of what he thought Tommy DeVito's passing yards is going to be. He said like 111.5. The total was 159.5. I hammered that under, and that was a nice one because he only had like 45 yards total for the game. It was insane. So that was a great line. I couldn't believe that I saw 159.5. That was a gimme. But yeah, I mean it's bad. He can't throw the ball downfield. It's tough. The Washington defense is pretty good overall. I think they're going to limit. I think they're going to limit Tommy DeVito again this week. He's just struggling. It's just hard to move the ball. The offense is weak. Nothing to see with the Giants this week.
Poor Saquon. I know I'm just feeling bad for everybody today, but I mean, Saquon is just it's a nightmare in New York. And obviously injuries, nobody predicted it, but it is an absolute train wreck in New York. A place that it's not a train wreck and it's trending upwards. The Dallas Cowboys are playing the 1-8 Panthers. I'm on the Panthers to cover in this game. Call me crazy, call me stupid, call me whatever you want to call me. The Cowboys come back down to earth this week. Okay, I'm not impressed that the Cowboys can beat the Giants 49-17. They lost to the Eagles. They lost to the Niners 42-10. They lost to the Cardinals. All right, they come back down to earth this week. The teams they have beaten are not great. The Panthers aren't good, but I think that they can cover at home in this ball game. JJ, in my crazy, stupid nuts, what's the case here?
No, because I kind of want to switch over. I kind of want to take the Carolina Panthers. Am I allowed to take an audible here?
Let's do it.
I like the points here. Especially when you know that Dallas, after, going into a easy win kind of situation, what they did in Arizona, they flew to Arizona thinking that would have been a walk in the park. It was a 13-point spread or whatever it was, and they end up losing outright. I think they take teams for granted a little bit, and I think they could take a Carolina Panthers team who's desperate for a win. They have a challenge in front of them. I think that they put some points up on the board. I think they can't keep it close. I think the Dallas Cowboys end up finding a way to win, but 10.5 points is a lot.
Are we going 0.0 on the win or the spread, Coach? Which one?
I think this is a time of year where the really good teams, as long as they stay healthy, they start to separate themselves from the pack. And this is what Cowboys are going to do this week. They're going to continue the momentum that they have. Dak is playing with incredible amount of confidence. CeeDee Lamb is playing his tail off. Obviously, Pollard will get going again. There's no way Carolina can keep up with these guys. Not the way they've been playing, with the injuries that they have too. Now, a healthy Carolina team, maybe they could keep it close, but not with the injuries that they have, the backups that they have playing. I just don't see it. The Cowboys are going to really continue to put themselves in position to get a high seed or maybe win the division. So they got to win this game. They're going to come out smoking.
Are you really separating yourself from the pack if you beat the Panthers? Or are you just talking about standings because they get a win?
Standings because they get a win.
Gotcha,
and good teams really start to play good about this time of year, and they just get the momentum going to the playoffs. And I think the Cowboys are one of those good teams that are going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be excited to see Dak Prescott needs to get to the playoffs. He needs to win in the playoffs. It's been years, and Dallas has been waiting for it. So hopefully this is the year that they can get that done. Next game on the slate. What the hell happened in Jacksonville last week with the Jacksonville Jaguars? I believe it was 34-3. I didn't see it coming. I thought the Jaguars were better than that, and I'm taking them on a comeback. The Titans had a letdown last week. Finally, they came back down to earth with Will Levis. They didn't put up very many points at all. JJ, I'm coming back to you here. Are you just so out on the Jaguars after the ugly performance that they put up against the 49ers last week, or are you more a believer in the Tennessee Titans?
Well, first, before I get into that, let's talk about Brock Purdy, because last week he did go 6 for 6 on throws, passes, more than 20 yards with a touchdown. It was a perfect 100% completion rating. It helps having all those guys back. San Francisco's no joke, and their backs were against the wall. They lost a couple in a row. They're coming off a bye. They had to win that game, so that was a tough team to beat, even though the Jaguars were at home. But talking about this one, I just think Tennessee plays teams tight all the way through. This is a divisional game. I think the Tennessee is going to bring the noise, bring the heat this week. I think Jaguars are going to ultimately win, but I don't think they're going to win by more than a touchdown. I think it's going to be like a 4 or 5 point game, something around that number. But I think 7 points is way too many points.
Coach Jay, what happened to the damn Jaguars last week? They not as good as advertised?
No, they're pretty good. They just got whooped. Sometimes that happens in a game. You run into a buzzsaw. They make the plays. You don't make the plays you normally make. And next thing you know, you're down by 2 or 3 touchdowns. You can't come back. That's what happened. And the 49ers did that to Dallas. They've done it to other teams too. So I just think JJ's right that the Titans and Jaguars game, the series is usually pretty tight. And Will is going to play a little bit better, I hope. I'm not very convinced that he's a very good player yet, but I think he'll play better. I think Derrick Henry will get a lot of totes. And I think they'll keep it close. And it'll be a low-scoring game because ETM's got to get going for Jacksonville for them to have a chance moving forward. So I think it'll be a running game, 20-20 type or a 20-20 yard line type game, a lot of field goals. But the other day, I think it'll be a close game. And I think Jacksonville will still come out on top.
Again, guys, just for our listeners as well, before we get into the next game on the slate, a lot of people are in the Lockerverse app lounge right now telling us they missed the Thursday night picks. They joined into the show late. All of us are on the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football, guys. So everybody shout out Lockerverse for putting our show on their app. We're all on the Ravens tomorrow night for Thursday Night Football. Next game on the slate, here we go. We'll keep it rolling. Cardinals at Texans. I just got to give CJ Stroud his flowers. And Coach Jay, I've been dying you to ask you this question. I think I know the answer, but we were talking offensive rookie of the year for CJ Stroud. Clearly, he is that guy. It's been talked about throughout the media forever now. Has he not only entered, and obviously, again, he probably is Offensive Rookie of the Year, has he entered just the flat-out MVP race of the entire league with the way he's playing right now, Coach?
Yeah, why wouldn't he? He's taking a team that had the number 2 overall pick. That means they were really bad last year to a position where they're 5-4 and in the division lead hunt. And he's throwing the ball accurately and on time. His stats are outstanding. He doesn't make many mistakes. He's a great leader. You can see that. He's great for the community there in Houston. So, yeah, why not? Obviously, it's early. Nobody can pick an MVP week 10. That'd be silly because there's a lot of big football games left to be played. But if they continue on and they happen to win the AFC South, then yeah, he's definitely a contender for MVP.
As a rookie, I mean, I don't know. You guys probably don't know off the top of your head. Has a rookie ever won the actual MVP race ever? Does anybody know off the top of their head? I'll have to look into it, but I doubt it's ever happened. I mean, it's amazing if he could do it.
I don't know.
Anybody know? It's a great question. Yeah, I don't know. JJ, Kyler Murray was back last week, got the win. Again, this is going to be indoors, another, obviously good weather game for Kyler Murray, getting his feet wet, coming back after the ACL tear. Is CJ Stroud and the Texans just going to be too much for that Cardinals secondary, who obviously isn't good, and CJ Stroud's been carving up a good team, so I can't imagine what he's going to do to the Cardinals secondary this week at home.
I'm honestly a little nervous because I was really on the fence of taking the Cardinals here. Kyler Murray looked pretty good last week. Again, he played the Falcons, so not much to say there, but he looked okay. He came in and that team is playing with really nothing to lose, and that's always scary. That's why I got the total at the over, because I think both teams are going to put up a lot of points here. But yeah, again, 5 points is a lot, but it is the Arizona Cardinals at the end of the day. I think Houston takes advantage of this team. But again, I think 5 could be too much here. So I'm teeter-tottering over this pick, and I think I would go Arizona if I could switch it.
I know Kyler Murray's back, but they are 0-5 on the road this year, the Cardinals. So, and again, they won last week, but it was a last-second field goal, and it was the Falcons. And the Falcons they're not bad, but they're middle-of-the-road average. And I think, obviously, if the Texans played the Falcons, the Texans will probably beat them. Next game on the slate, the 49ers, your boy Brock Purdy's back in action, JJ. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Spread's 11.5. I think it's pretty easy that this game they're going to win. I think the 49ers could win this game by 20 points. A little alternate spread action. Coach Jay, though, I'm going to come to you first because you're the only one on the over. You think Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers are going to put up points against that 49ers defense?
I think they can put up some points. Mike Evans will give them some problems like he does to everybody else. And they'll get some – Baker Mayfield will get some throws off. San Francisco's defense played great last week, but they have shown some chinks in their armor throughout the season. So, yeah, I think they will score some points. I just think Tampa Bay's pass defense is going to be very much in trouble when they see the 49er offense, a healthy 49er offense, and they're going to have trouble stopping the run as well. So I think it'll be a track meet for the 49ers, but I think Tampa Bay will score a few.
JJ, again, I mentioned Brock Purdy, fantastic last week. He helped my guy out, George Kittle, in fantasy football. How are you feeling about an alternate spread of like minus 19.5 in this game? You think that the 49ers, just like they did last week against the Jags, could come back home and destroy Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers?
I think 20 is pushing it. Baker Mayfield, to his credit, he has been putting some points up. Mike Evans is hard to stop. Rachaad White, he is playing phenomenal right now. He's playing very, very good. It's just that defensive line and that defense from San Fran is just so good that I'm just curious to see if they can get that run game going and get Mike Evans really involved. But I think 11.5 is a lot of points, because I was also kind of like going back and forth with Bucks here, but I think they do win by 14 or more. But it's just 20. I think that's pushing it.
Still on the alternate spread, though. You said 14, so you might be getting a little bit into the alternate spread there for you. We'll see if you actually place it come Sunday. Another game on the slate that I want to have a debate about. The Buffalo Bills, and I know I am just embarrassed with myself that I took the Buffalo Bills. I watched the Jets, and I just simply can't take them. But Coach Jay, you're on the Jets, so I'm coming back to you. And I got to give, before I do, I'm going to give all the credit in the world to JJ. Beginning of the season, you guys knew, he said the window was closing, they would miss the playoffs. And despite injuries to all these quarterbacks and all this and that, they're in a prime spot to miss the playoffs. They can't beat the Denver Broncos, for Christ's sake. Josh Allen's throwing picks left and right. Stephon Diggs' brother's on Twitter telling him he wants to get freed. Because in the NFL today, if you're not producing, your dad, your brother, your sister, your mother, your pet's going to get on social media and tell you to get up out of there. So Coach Jay, what is going on in Buffalo? They fired the offensive coordinator. They fired somebody else. Is Josh Allen just not that good? Because people don't want to have that conversation, and I'm ready to have the goddamn conversation that he just might not be that good.
I'd take him. I think he's playing with a bad shoulder, personally. I really think he's fighting through a shoulder injury. You can see it in his face. You can see it in the way he's throwing, kind of. That's what I think. I think the Buffalo Bills have won a lot of football games because of Josh Allen, not in spite of Josh Allen losing. So defensively, they've taken a couple hits, some key players that are leadership-type players, Pro Bowl-type players. And then offensively, they just haven't found their way. Their running game has been poor. They haven't really got an identity. It's been all about Josh. The pressure's been on Josh on every snap. RPO, read this, do this, run here. It never has any running game to take the pressure off of him where he can just hand it off. So, and he's playing with a bad shoulder, throwing shoulder. So I do think they have a chance to bounce back. But I'm taking the points here because I think the Jets will slow it down, get Breece Hall going. It'll be a low-scoring game, and the Jets cover.
Coach, you know who's led the NFL in interceptions every year since 2018? Oh, Josh Allen. Josh Allen. He turns the ball over. You can't win a Super Bowl if you turn the ball over, all right?
I agree. He does turn the ball over too much, but he's still pretty good.
He's pretty good. I'm just saying, when are we going to –
I mean, I wouldn't put him up there with the top 3 or 4 guys, but he's definitely in the top 10.
He is a top 10 for sure. I just want to know when we're going to have when are we going to start having the conversation that Josh Allen has an issue, and they're winning. They win games because he's good, but they also lose games because he turns the ball over. I mean, that's just
if you were asked to be a head coach and Josh Allen's your quarterback, would you be happy?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. No, I really don't know. I really don't know.
You wouldn't say, no way, I'm not taking that job because Josh Allen's a quarterback. I don't want it.
Grant, right now, who would you take over Josh Allen right now? Name your quarterbacks who would take over Josh Allen right now.
Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I gotta have a list of quarterbacks in front of me. That's 4 off the top of my head.
CJ,
Tua. I would take Tua over Josh Allen. Right now, CJ, absolutely. I would probably take
Justin Herbert.
I was just gonna say I would probably take Justin Herbert over Josh Allen. I really would. I would.
Well,
so there's 7.
There's nothing wrong with that. They're all good.
There's 7 or 8. I'm just at JJ. I'm coming to you now. I'm just asking when are we? They are, but when are we going to start having the conversation that he's also the reason they're losing these games? They're 5-5 and they might not make the playoffs.
It bothers me too. They don't get the run game going at all, which really ticks me off because I have James Cook in fantasy, and I swear every time he touches the ball, he gets 7 or 8 yards. He had that fumble early, but he only carried the ball 13 times last week for 100 yards. I mean, it just drives me crazy that he doesn't get involved as much, or even just screen passes, whatever.
You throw a bubble screen on the first play of the game, and James Cook fumbles it. Then they drive down there, and he throws a dart right to Gabe Davis's face mask, and he drops it. And it's intercepted. That's why he threw that interception. The one he threw to Fabian Moreau, that was a good play by Fabian, but it's not like it's all on Josh. I mean, give the guy a break. He threw the ball right here to Gabe Davis, and it bounces up, and it's intercepted. Boo, Josh, you stink. Fire the coordinator. Yeah. How about catch the ball, Gabe?
I'm with you. I'm with you there. Bailey from Lockerverse says Buffalo had their time. The window's closing. I'm with you. But JJ, let's go back to this game. Again, Pop's Coach Jay is on the Jets, but you're on the Bills with me. I mean, they have to win. I mean, this is a must-win for the Bills. They can't lose this game.
Bills dropped 3 in a row against the Jets.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they have. I think they lost both games last year to New York. They lost this year already.
Week 1. Yeah, week 1.
Yep, and they already lost this year. So the Jets do play them tight. Just offensively, I just don't think they're very good, and a low-scoring game again. But, I got to go with just the better offense, in my opinion, and that's the Bills. I think they're going to put up more points than the Jets will, especially if the Jets only put up 12 against the Raiders.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're spot on. I'm going to be excited to have this conversation with you guys as the season goes on, because the Bills' schedule's no joke. I was actually just talking about this at the office today. I mean, let me pull it up right here. They've got the Jets this week, but then you go at Philly, at KC, home against the Cowboys, and then in LA against the Chargers. I mean, that's a tough schedule, and they're already 5-5. I mean, we're going to see what Josh Allen and the Bills are made of for sure. And Coach is right. I mean, the one, he had 2 on Monday. The one was his fault. The one wasn't. So I'll give him some slack there. All I want to say is he's talked about as one of the best. So I want to see him start performing and not turning the ball over as much at the end of the day. That's it. Next game on the slate. Let's keep rolling. I don't want to talk about Josh Allen too much. Seahawks at Rams. Matt Stafford practiced today. It sounds like he's going to be a full go against the Seahawks. I thought this over-under was pretty high as well. Coach Jay, talk to us about the Rams with Matt Stafford back covering in this game.
Yeah, I wasn't really impressed with Seattle at home last week against the Commanders. I know they pulled it out, but I think that their defense is struggling a little bit. Stafford back healthy. You'll get Puka going and Cooper Kupp going. They'll put up the points. And then Geno Smith will do a few things offensively. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I do like the over a lot in this game, just like I liked the over a lot last week in the Commander-Seahawks game. So I think it's a high-scoring game, and at the end of the day, I think the Rams get back on track with a big win.
JJ, thoughts on this game? I think it should be a close one for sure. But again, this was a coin flip. I know we've said coin flip. This was a coin flip for me.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, especially with Stafford coming back. You could really go either way with it. I mean, obviously with the spread being the way it is, but yeah, I agree with my dad. I mean, the defense for Seattle didn't look too good. They haven't looked good. So if you can get Cooper Kupp going, you can get Puka going. They might be in some trouble, but I just think Seattle's the better team. I like their run game a lot. I think Kenneth Walker needs to get more involved. They'll open some passing lanes up for Geno, DK. DK was kind of coming on late in the game. So I think that they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to bounce back from a bad win last week, and I think they take advantage of a Rams team.
Yeah, I had Kenneth Walker fancy. I traded him. I'm with you. He's a great running back. I want to see him get more involved. Again, this game is actually going to be really good. It's going to be very close. Obviously, 1-point spread. Odds makers think the same thing. 2 more games on the slate, both in prime time. I think both are going to be very good. Sunday Night Football, the Josh Dobbs story is fantastic, and the trend keeps on rolling. But how about the Denver Broncos? I mean, everybody had said Sean Payton trade, acquiring him, was bad. Everybody said Russell Wilson was cooked. But Russell Wilson started to turn it up a little bit. That throw he had in the back corner to Courtland Sutton on Monday Night Football was fantastic. That was prime and vintage Russ. Coach Jay, are the Denver Broncos back? Are they starting to turn it up a notch? What are your thoughts on them as the season gets down to the wire here sitting at 4-5?
I think it's one of the most impressive turnarounds I've seen on a side of the football. Defensively, they were absolutely horrific. I don't know if you remember me saying that, but they have turned it around. They made some personnel adjustments, some coaching adjustments, and now they're playing very good football. They're tackling better. They're pursuing to the football. They're sound in what they do. That's what's made them win games. And Russ is making enough plays. He's not throwing the ball down the field very much, but he's getting the ball out of his hands and moving the chains, and they're doing what they need to do. But defensively, I think it's Vance Joseph as a coordinator there. What a great job he's done after giving up 70 points to the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the most embarrassing performances from a defense I've ever seen, and crazy turnaround. I know I'm out on Survivor, all right, but I haven't put my nuts on the table yet this year. If there's one game I would put my nuts on the table for this year, I think the Broncos. I think the Josh Dobbs story. Why, JJ, don't even get me started.
That's why you got out week 4. You picked the worst game.
This is not Survivor pick. Dude, Josh Dobbs was statistically very bad in Arizona. The success magical story is going to turn it down a notch this week. And the Red Hot Broncos at home, they're going to get it done. I'm putting my nuts on the table for the Denver Broncos at home on Sunday Night Football this week, JJ. I'm sorry, but I'm doing it.
I'm fading the hell out of you now. I want to go Minnesota. I want to change my pick. I just
want to go Audible.
Oh, you're wearing a purple shirt, JJ. It should work.
Audible,
yeah, right?
Is it official? Are official Audible? Are we calling it?
I'm gonna call an audible. I'm gonna take the Vikings. I learned my lesson last week. They look good. I mean, defensively, they played really well against the Saints early. Jameis Winston came back, had some incredible throws, really, a couple lucky ones. I mean, he threw one up to A.T. Perry where he had to come up for a jump ball. I mean, he threw it about 90 miles an hour into the corner of the end zone. Surprised that wasn't picked off. And the other one was a jump ball by Chris Olave, which, was a great catch by Olave. It was a great play. But overall, that defense was pretty good for Minnesota. But other than that, I mean, Denver, it's a toss up, man. At the end of the day, Minnesota's playing good. You can't discredit them. They're in the playoff hunt. They could win this game. So I'm going to switch my pick to Minnesota.
Fabian, I'm going to be watching that game, and I'm going to be excited to see how that game turns out. Last game on the slate is a fantastic one. Monday Night Football at Arrowhead. Are we just not a fan of the 8-1 Eagles? The Chiefs are coming off their bye. Somebody fill me in on why are we so confident that the Chiefs will win this game? And maybe you're not confident. It is a close spread, but Coach, I'm coming back to you here first. do you just think both these teams are good and it's going to be close, or mindset in this what should be a very good Monday Night Football game? I'm anxious to hear it.
These are two of the top 4 or 5 teams in the NFL, and they're playing at home in Kansas City. And Kansas City's been struggling a little bit on offense, which won't last. Their defense is in the top 5 at Kansas City, so I think they'll play great at home. Slowing Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown down will be a great challenge, but I think they can get it done. And I think Patrick Mahomes will get going again. Why would you ever bet against Patrick Mahomes when he's at home? I mean, the statistics show that his record at home is pretty good. So why would you ever bet against Patrick Mahomes?
Because the Eagles are better, in my opinion. He's good at home, but the Eagles are better. JJ, you don't want to fade Patrick Mahomes at home?
Well, no, I'm just not a fan of the Eagles secondary this year. I mean, they have a great secondary on paper, but they haven't been performing to the Eagles standard that they were playing at last year. So I think Patrick Mahomes is going to start to pick them apart a little bit. I think he can take advantage there. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think the Eagles are going to get going too. But I think at the end of the day, I think Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid hosting his old team, I think they come up on top.
Reggie in Lockerverse says at Grant, Broncos are not back. So they're with you in Lockerverse, JJ. They're taking the Vikings. I know we're all out on Survivor except JJ, and we have a pretty good reel coming tomorrow. JJ's going to be posting it from his socials. He's undefeated. He's still in the Survivor. He has not lost yet. JJ, the floor is yours. Who is your Survivor pick? And then I'm going to give one as well as Coach Jay, just because we're going to give a team that's going to win. But JJ, the man of the hour, Survivor pick of this week to keep this thing alive going into week 11 and possibly week 12.
I hate using this team, man. I really hate using this team because I know they're going to be a playoff threat, but no better time to use them to keep my streak alive. But I'm going with the Miami Dolphins, coming off the bye, playing a Raiders team that they can't keep up with. I think the Dolphins are going to have another track meet. I think a chain's coming back this week. They're going to have Tyreek Hill go off. Tua takes advantage of bad teams. They stat pad a little bit. I think it's going to be an absolute shellacking, and it's going to be no scare like I had last week with Seattle and the Reds with the Commanders. So I'm going with the Dolphins here.
I love it. I'm with you. I mean, I don't see a world that they lose, especially coming off that bye as well. The Dolphins are. I said I would take the Broncos if I was in. Coach Jay, let's get a team that doesn't lose if we were in it. Who do you got?
I can't remember who I took, but I would take the Commanders this week. Commanders against the Giants. I think that's a slam dunk. You're going to beat Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I mean, it's Danny DeVito. I still lives at home with his parents in the NFL. Shout out to him. Props. Again, I said it earlier. It's a nightmare there. But fellas, week 11 is in the books. A lot of good games this week, especially the primetime ones after what was a very shitty week of primetime games last week. So I'm excited. I will see you guys next week for week 12, and hopefully we're coming back. And we got some more interesting playoff races down to the wire. So, boys, we'll catch you next week.
See you later.